Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am the Poverty Princess. Today I am going to be making homemade stuffed cabbage soup, and I wanted to do this video before I do part 2 of my grocery haul. And the reason is I wanted to have the soup ready so Ronnie could eat before he goes to work tonight. Then I could record part 2 of my other video and upload that later on this evening. Definitely I felt that that would work out better for me, and also I'm looking forward to eating this soup. I haven't made it for a little bit, so definitely I am hungry for some homemade stuffed cabbage soup, or as some Polish people call it, lazy golumki. Yeah, I've heard it called lazy golumki. So let's get into what you need and how to do it. Alrighty guys, for this soup you actually only need a few basic ingredients. You need about a pound to a pound and a half of ground beef, which I'm going to fry. You need a half an onion chopped up. That needs to be fried up in some butter first. You need a head of cabbage, which will be chopped up into small quarters. A lot of people use different things to make this soup. I use diced tomatoes and tomato puree. Some people use tomato soup. Some also use tomato sauce. It's just a matter of preference, or maybe even what you happen to have on hand. I also will be using 8 cups of beef broth, since I don't purchase the boxes of beef broth anymore. I will be using beef bouillon cubes, 1 cube per cup of water, so I will be using 8 of these to make 8 cups of beef broth. I'm also going to chop my onion up and fry that up in butter, and I will also have my ground beef frying up first, and you'll see that in a moment. Alright, so I have my chopped onion simmering in some butter just till it gets translucent, and I also have my beef cubes in 8 cups of water, and they're dissolving slowly but surely. I don't want to have too much going on my stovetop at the same time, so as soon as the onions are done, I'm going to brown my ground beef in this pan. And then when my ground beef is being fried, I will also prep my brown rice, have that going, and that will be on the back burner because that's the best burner for some reason for brown rice. And I will have that sitting after I boil the water and everything. And while that's sitting back there and is absorbing the water and everything, cooking, I will be finishing up with my ground beef. My beef broth is almost ready. So I'm going to add my large can of crushed tomatoes. I always use the large can of crushed tomatoes or tomato sauce. Sometimes I do switch up and use tomato sauce, but today I'm using the large can of crushed tomatoes, and I'm just adding that right into beef broth. stirring it up. And my onions are almost ready. They're almost done. Hi, buddy. Look who wanted to come over and say hello as I'm trying to record this video. My handsome boy. Yes, my handsome boy. Anywho, guys, what I was going to say is my ground beef is almost ready to drain the grease from. Very important, draining the grease with this soup. And when all the grease is drained out of it, I am going to put it on very, very low. Add the onions that were fried up in a little bit of butter. And I'm just going to let them set very, very low temperature while I prep my brown rice. And Oreo smells the ground beef looking like, what are you doing, you know? What, buddy? What? No. Alrighty, so started prepping my brown rice. I just added to the pot of beef broth and pureed tomatoes. I added the drained ground beef with the onion mixed into it. Stirring that around. And now I'm just going to work on brown rice and get that going. When that's simmering, I am going to chop my cabbage, and I'm going to show you guys how I chop it. It's not hard, not complicated. And I don't know if you can see. No, I guess you can, but Oreo's sitting right here in the end of the counter by my sink, by my fridge. And as always, with my rice, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 cups of water to 1 cup of brown rice. We'll make enough for this soup, definitely. I'm also going to add this can of diced tomatoes to the soup. I got this from the church food pantry. I didn't add any diced tomatoes, so I'm going to actually open that up. Electric can opener, and I'm going to add that in. Give that a good stir. Let that simmer, and now going to work on my rice. I always add a little bit of butter and a little bit of salt to my rice. That's just my flavor preference. I mean, a lot of people don't, but I just prefer that. So I'm just going to let that continue boiling for a minute or two. And I'm going to put that down to simmer and put my lid on. I'm just going to leave that go because that takes about 20 to 25 minutes to fully absorb the water. So that's it. Now I'm going to show you guys how I chop my cabbage. And once the cabbage is chopped, I'll be adding that to the pot and letting that simmer. And the last thing that will be waiting on to be added will be my brown rice. Alrighty guys, this is my head of cabbage. This is pretty much like an average size head of cabbage, not too small and not too big. So what I'm going to try to do now, I don't have perfect cutting ability, so I opt for as close as I could get. But what you want to do is cut your cabbage into 2 halves, and they don't have to be perfectly right down smack the middle, you know, even. Alright, so one half aside, and now what I'm going to do is cut this half into a half. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. Nobody is going to check and see how well you, how perfectly you cut your cabbage. And then those halves, I just cut them into quarters. That is the easiest way to do it with this soup. And make this soup, pieces about this size are perfect because they separate as they're cooking, and they don't take that long then to actually soften in the broth. Alrighty, so I added my cabbage to the pot, and I also added 5 more cups of beef broth. Definitely seemed like it needed a little bit more, so I added 5 more cups of that. Same ratio as before, 1 cup of water to 1 beef cube. So I used 5 beef cubes, 5 cups of water, and add a good stir. And now I'm just going to add some salt and pepper. I'm going to bring this up to a boil very soon. Now, I also add some Italian seasoning, but that's just my preference. You could add other seasonings or just leave go with salt and pepper. But I like to add some Italian. I do with a lot of soups, a lot of meals that I make. Just my preference. So basically it's some basil, oregano, cilantro, and parsley. Just a little bit. And just give that a good stir. Bring that to a nice boil. My rice is still simmering. Once I bring the cabbage up to a boil, then I'm going to turn it down to simmer and just let that cabbage soften in the broth. And when the rice is done, I will add that to the broth as well. So altogether I used 14 cups of beef broth with this soup. I started off with 8, but sometimes you do have to adjust and add a little bit more. It just depends, you know, but like site-wise, I looked at it and thought, it could use a little bit more. So I got my seasonings turned in, and cabbage is all mixed in good. And I'm turning this up to high and letting this come to boil. This is another great wintertime soup. It freezes very well, and it's just a good bowl of soup. Same with stuffed pepper soup. I love my stuffed pepper soup. That's another one. I could eat that probably like I definitely could eat that like even once a week. I love that soup. That is like the best. Alright, so I'm going to let that come to boil and let it boil for like a minute or so, and then turn it down to simmer. Put the lid on the pot and basically check on my brown rice. When that's ready to add, I will add that to it. I added my rice to the soup. That is pretty hot from having been, boiling for earlier. So I'm going to let this simmer for about, I want to say a good 20 to 25 minutes. Now that everything is added, stir it periodically, and it will be ready to eat in like a half hour. Well guys, this yummy, hot, steaming bowl of goodness is the stuffed cabbage soup, guys. I really hope you like this video. I enjoy cooking, and I enjoy cooking for you guys. And don't worry, there is plenty more cool recipes I have in my folders and recipe box and binders, guys. So one thing I will not run out of is things to cook. What's coming up this week is a homemade blueberry pie, and yes, my homemade chocolate cake with homemade peanut butter frosting that I will be making this week. I'm going to make the blueberry pie first. I want to use the blueberries. I'm also going to save some blueberries to make some blueberry pancakes and put them in the freezer, so I have them next time Ronnie works overtime. He can have some blueberry pancakes with sausage for breakfast. Sounds pretty good. Well guys, I really hope you like this video. If you do, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit my subscribe button down below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you a little bit later with part 2 of my giant shopping haul. So, take care. Have a wonderful evening. I will see you soon. Bye.